we just got an update to the Snowcross website that might change completely how the players in Guild Wars 2 approach open world systems in Guild Wars 2. Let's talk about it. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and let's get into it. So, what happened? We got this new announcement, and I actually thought at the start that this was going to be some sort of like April Fool's joke, as it happened at the same time, right? And in some ways I think it was, because the way that they were talking about it was a bit funny, right? And they said, good day, friends and family. Today is a monumental day in the history of Snowcross website. Today marks the day that the Snowcross site retires from the world of sweaty try-hard raid builds and embraces the true content that makes Guild Wars 2 the legendary game that it is. We have finally hung up our boots and called it a day. No more are the complex rotations or greedy infusions. Gone are the elitist benchmark lists. We have opened our eyes and seen the true calling for our fantastic team. That's right, you guessed it, open world builds. That is the final step in the evolution as the website. This is where we want to go. To be fair, I think they're kind of being a bit jokey around here. Obviously, they're going to continue doing, raid content and benchmarks and all this other stuff. But I think, April Fools, it's April Fools, guys. So, of course, they're going to be a little bit of this, right? Our amazing team of content creators has put together a curated list of high-performing builds to turn off the frantic open-world metas into a smooth, blissful dream. We have categories for group and solo builds to help you decide what you will be using builds for. Group builds typically provide plenty of support and boons, while solo builds can, just do that. For release, we have started with two categories, but we'll be releasing free-to-play core builds and another more experimental category over the next days and weeks. We have tried to share green gear between raids and open world builds to make it gearing easier and to ensure you don't have to simply delete your raid gear. The sharp-eyed among you will have noticed that we aren't using any celestial builds. They're horror. We believe that investing heavily in these expensive gear sets is not worth it solely for open world, especially when 99% of the content you will encounter does not require such defensive capabilities. If you do decide that you want to solo 5 legendary bounties at once while changing the diapers on your cats, cooking dinner and face tanking every mechanic, well, then you know what to do. Getting celestial builds, of course, and maybe going to Lord Hyson's YouTube channel. I think it's a very, very cool way of, it's a funny way of telling everyone, hey, this is what we're doing. And of course it's April Fools, and I actually thought this announcement was just April Fools, but they actually did it. They actually went in and made the builds. You can go to here to open world, and you can see all the open world builds, the solo ones and the group ones. Now, what I'm guessing is that the solo ones probably, they just seem like it's better just not to be in groups. I do think there's it's not only DPS builds here, of course. It's not like group doesn't have any power DPS. DPS builds. Like you have Power Reaver that is just DPS and it's not really giving bonus to other people. But this version of Power Weaver actually has some changes in terms of the traits that they take. You can see here that in the open world version, you take in air, you take this one in particular to give you super speed, which is very useful in open world, instead of this one, Ferocious Winds, that gives you ferocity. You also take burning precision to do more damage in the raid one, but you take lesser cleansing fire to cure conditions on fire, right? Which is very, very cool, right? I think that's very awesome, right? These are definitely like one of the examples where you don't have that much things changing. I think the Power Chronomancer one is actually pretty interesting because it actually tells you to pick the trait depending on what you want. If you want quickness, take this one. If you want alacrity, you want this one. And if you want DPS, another one, right? Which is very good for people to actually understand what the build does, right? I don't actually... Does this have anything different? Actually, no, I don't think... Oh, no, yeah. In this one, actually, in the Power Berserker one, you actually pick quickness to give boons to other players, which is very, very useful in open world. And it actually will help everyone do more damage, right? You also take bonus recovery instead of destruction of the empowered. You deal a bit less damage, but you also remove conditions when you swap weapons, which is very useful in open world. You also change, as you can see here, some of the utilities you bring for Great Justice instead of Signal of Might. Yeah, and you will do a little bit less damage, but you also will give might to other people, which is very, very good. Yeah, so... And also, you can see here that you actually bring different enrichment to get experience from kills, which is very useful to get more spirit shards and getting more gold, Same thing with the food. You get another one just to get a bit more experience from kills, which is very, very good, right? And you also, there's one in particular that I really, really liked. The one from, where is it? Where is this build? Power Deadeye. Power Deadeye is honestly a fucking insane build in raids, right? It's very hard to pull off. It doesn't really do a lot. Well, it does do a lot of damage if you do it correctly, but it's very, very hard to do that, right? But they changed it completely here, right? In raids, you actually have... Wait, no, Power Deadeye. My bad. Power Deadeye. Where is it? Power Deadeye. In range, you have a rifle, and you pick this trait in order to do big damage, right? But in open world, in this version, you bring staff, and as a secondary weapon set, axe and pistol. Insane, right? And because you actually bring quickness instead here, so yeah, you might not do as much damage in the other way than in the other way, but you know, giving quickness on this specific in open world is way easier than in a raid because of how this build works, and you actually have. You know, also another set with axe and pistol for meta events that cover a lot of ground when you have to move a lot, right? And it tells you what to do instead. Isn't that awesome? So you can go for the staff version, or you can go for the mobility axe and pistol version. So cool. You also get the crowd control, and this is in every one of these sites, by the way. It gives you the crowd control that you have on this build, right? It says if you know stealth and you into, I guess what is this, and staff, you'll be able to do malicious strike, which knocks down and it gives 400 defiance bar, right? It's so many cool stuff, and honestly, it's something that we really have been missing, because everyone talks about open world builds, right? But what are they? You know, it's cool that you can solo some stuff, but the solo builds that you're actually gonna use on meta events that are useful are not gonna be the solo builds of Lord Hyson. Those are for different things. For open world, for meta events, that's one of the biggest parts of this game. It's mostly raid builds that do a lot of damage, but some things change in open world. For example, Spellbreaker gets Attacker's Insight all the time in open world because you're constantly triggering the full counter, so you can actually probably greed a little bit more with precision on that specific build if you're actually going for open world. There's certain traits that are better for open world. For survivability, there's certain specs that are very, very, very low health, so you know, picking some other traits in open world is a very, very good idea, so you will not have your a healer around you all the time. And this is such an awesome thing. I think this whole thing is just great, and I'm very happy about it. It's definitely the type of content that I enjoy, of course, and hopefully it will make my own meta trains faster as well. We actually have sometimes a bit of trouble, for example, doing convergences faster, as we don't actually do enough damage sometimes, and maybe this will help. Maybe this will make other people actually go for this open world builds and do a bit more damage, and you know, definitely try them out. Maybe I'll definitely go start checking out some of them on stream as well. If you want to watch my stream, you know, to see which ones are pretty good. As I said before, I really like the Power Deadeye one, and I'll definitely check more of them soon. And maybe I'll do a few reviews of these builds, right? Maybe, you know, open world build review every day, guys. It's time. But thank you very much for watching, guys. Subscribe to the channel. If you want to support me, go to my Ko-Fi. If you want to support me as well, go to my twitch.tv/terrancewithus to watch me live and check this builds out. And go to my Discord if you want to hang out off stream. Of course, also go check the Snowcross build site website. I will leave that link in the description so you guys can check all this builds out. But there you go. Thank you very much for watching, guys. See you guys around. Love you all. Bye bye.